Mental health is something that we've all got, just like our physical health. It can be maintained, improved or deteriorate. It's never a fixed state, and it's really important we look after it. I'm really glad there are sessions like this and content like this being put out, because probably when we were at school or when we were young lads, it was never spoken about. We just thought mental health was a condition or a problem, and thought of it in a negative connotation.
Yeah, I think that's an important point, isn't it? I think whilst we are talking about it more and more, quite often we do latch on and think of those negatives.
Yeah.
And it's as important as we talk about some of the positives, you know, like being happy and all that sort of stuff. And I think even go a step further, so not just talk about it, but look at what we're doing for it.
Absolutely.
And following on from that, what is wellbeing and why is it so important?
So wellbeing has probably got loads of clever definitions, probably made up by people far cleverer than us, but for me I think it's nice and simple, and it's the result of how well we take care of ourselves. And I think it is massively important, you know, if we're going to talk about mental health and how to maintain or improve that, then we have to look at our well-being and how well we are looking after ourselves on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and it's important what Liam just said there. It's your responsibility, so you can read as many books and things like that as you want to do. It's about putting daily positive action in, and as a result of that, sort of your well-being and your mental health will be improved.
And what role does routine and structure play?
Massive for us. We're two lads in recovery, but it's not just about people in recovery. I know when Liam came living with me, I knew his wellbeing was on the floor. He'd been taking drugs for a very long time, and one of the first things that I did with him was sort of do a weekly planner. And I remember him laughing at me when we sort of started.
I hated doing them, I'll be honest.
But there's a reason for that. It was a big part of my recovery, having that routine and structure, because I'd had complete lack of control and no routine and structure for a very long time. So to get that sort of control back had a really big impact on my well-being. And when we talk about routine and structure, there can be some fun things in there. There can be certain things looking after your health. There can be diet. There can be spending time with your loved ones. But having that, I do believe, has a big positive effect on your well-being.
Yeah, so I think Mark mentioned like when I was doing those weekly planners, and I think that was initially about keeping me safe and knowing where I was, but it evolves from there. You know, what it actually becomes is a way to manage my time so that I can make time to look after myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. You know, we've all got busy lives and that kind of thing, and if you're waiting for like the perfect window of opportunity to open up, and that's where your well-being will fit, you'll be waiting a long time. You know, sometimes we've got to plan and make the time to take care of ourselves. And routine and structure, you know, even just small changes can make a big difference. You know, quite always encourage people to start with the morning and the evening. You know, if you start your day a bit better and end it a bit better, then usually the bit in the middle will feel a bit better and be more manageable.
So how can someone start improving their well-being?
Daily positive action, I think. We talk about something called a mental health spectrum, and to be honest, it's even though we do things on a daily basis, it's always up and down. It's never a fixed state. But daily positive action. So if you've not done anything yesterday for your mental health, there's a good chance that it's declined, and the same applies for your physical health. So if someone wants to get fit, they usually think of physical health, so they go to the gym, they do some exercise. But the same applies for your mental health and well-being. So daily positive action, looking after yourself. And there's many different things that we do today that we probably would have laughed at a few years ago.
Definitely.
Two lads that had a bit of an ego and thought they were one of the lads doing yoga and meditation and things like that. And it's not that we sat there in orange robes and sort of meditating. It's very simple. There are loads of useful links and content that you can just download from YouTube, and that's what myself and Liam do a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I think it's probably just, you know, to emphasise taking care of yourself doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs a bit of time. There's a massive list of different things that you can do on a daily basis. Some of them quite simple, and the nice thing is most of them are quite enjoyable. You know, whether that's going for a walk, getting outside, spending time with friends, socialising, you know, reading a book, relaxing. You know, the list is really quite long, The most important thing is that you make the time for yourself, so you get the benefit.
And lastly, how could someone cope better day to day?
Just adding on what Liam said there, daily positive action. However, that doesn't mean that your life's always going to be perfect. I think I had this idea that I'd get out of rehab after the life that I had lived and everything would be simple. But if anything, stress is a massive part of life. I just deal with it in a much better fashion. So what do I do on a day-to-day now? I try and look after myself. And when I am struggling, I speak to the people around me. So my partner, I remember last year I was having quite a difficult time with health issues. I told her straight away, and we decided that I was going to get some help and support. And that was quite difficult to accept because I was in recovery and don't never see myself as fixed, but I see myself as much better, and then to tap back into getting some help. But it's only like going back to the gym when you've become physically unfit. I went to something, the equivalent like a mind gym, which was CBT, and spoke to a therapist, and that had a really big impact on me. So to summarise that question, it's looking after yourself on a day-to-day basis, but talking when you're struggling.